after this, I gotta go to Target.
Listen,
Go to Publix.
I don't want to be on the receiving end of a manhunt like that last time.
No, we're good.
She didn't know where you were.
No,
you forgot to check in with the boss. And
nope, she knows I'm here because after I'm done, she's got weekly doctor's appointments now. It's a matter of weeks now. I mean, we're looking within probably the next 2 to 3 weeks. So
then I'll never get you over here for a podcast.
Yeah, man.
Let alone late as this is.
It's gonna be
fucking. I think I might have to replace you.
There's a lot going on, man.
I might have to find someone that can keep a schedule.
I got a lot going on.
Even AJ can call in from New York.
I mean, I haven't for almost 2 straight weeks now. I haven't stopped, and I hurt. So, yeah.
You did it to yourself. No one told you to go get people pregnant.
Yeah, well, it's not even that. It's also with work too. Oh. Like the baby thing, I'm ready for, but just there's a lot, man. I got a lot going on. We got to see our boy Earl last night, though.
We did.
That was cool. I'm almost glad we waited the podcast now that we can proclaim that, hey man, it's gonna be great when Earl's in town and we get him on here.
I don't think he wants anything to do with you, to be honest with you.
Oh,
he kept rolling his eyes at me every time you talked.
Did he?
No, just kidding.
My self-esteem will take a hit. No, I love Earl.
Yeah, he's in town. Maybe we will work him in for one of these, but I have to warn him that you may not show up for it. Anyway,
Earl, for you, buddy, I'll make it.
He's not listening.
You know what's great? Listening to him just kind of casually, like we now have like a closer friend who played in the highest level of the NFL and
played in the Super Bowl.
Played in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We have like that perspective now in our group, and like when Earl points it out, I find it so entertaining.
Points what out? What are we
just
about?
Like when he was talking about the rookie shit. Last night. Yeah. Those stories, man, bro.
Yeah, I think if Earl was going to be in town on a regular basis, we would have a regular. Maybe I could talk him into doing a regular thing here.
Yeah,
because I think that shit's fascinating, and I think I think like the more removed you are from it, like he is now becoming, the more loose your lips get about
the more casual but you get about it because he's out now.
More willing to shit on coaches or tell stories about something that happened 10 years ago or whatever. So
I admittedly stopped talking shit about this show so much because I was like, maybe I'm being a little too critical here, and I'm like, I don't want to offend anybody. Like I don't want to offend Earl because he knows some of those people.
Oh, the wrestling?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think there was. No.
Yeah. Because
listen, I understand that when you come over to watch a wrestling show, 2 things happen. One, like I've always said, you're only happy when you're miserable. So when you come over, I know that you're going to shit all over the product that I'm trying to enjoy. And that's the other thing, is that I know that by having you come over, it's going to be an inner battle of trying to enjoy it while you're like trying to light it on fire.
And I'm conscious of that. I was very conscious of that last night.
Good. So I'll have Earl come over more often. Even if he's got to be FaceTimed in with us.
From
Houston.
There were some moments last night where I'm like, I could just ramble on a tangent about that. Charlotte, I think Charlotte was the worst.
Well, the beauty of it is that when you have more than like 1 or 2 people over, when it was like a group of people that haven't seen each other for a little while, like you, me, Earl, Adam.
Oh, it's a great time.
Your wife. That the conversations flow to the point where you have to make a conscious effort to pay attention to what's going on the TV, which means that you're not being I fucked for 3 straight hours with bad product. You're only casually watching it, so it's not as painful. I think when we get together and do it. Same thing with like the Rumble. Every year, when you've got 20 people in the house, who's watching? Whose eyes are glued to the TV? Who's paying attention to the commentary? We're all talking over it. We're all doing our own thing to make it more enjoyable, inadvertently, But yeah, the Charlotte. Let's talk about the pay-per-view. Fuck it, that's what we'll do. This episode we'll be talking about that because I kind of am curious of your opinions of what you saw last night since you hate everything, including wrestling. Not including, but especially wrestling.
Let's see. I came in later. I came in halfway through the women's Money in the Bank match.
Which was early. I think they opened with that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They had one other match, but that was a pre-show where the Usos won the championships off.
How about
Mysterios.
this, Ben?
Yes.
What does it take for a Samoan to get fired?
It's a good question.
Because we now got 2 DUIs on the same hombre who they've tried to push both times.
Well, they punished him the first time, and I think that they're in the midst of a big push with Roman that involves them
all of them
intimately. Yeah. Like he's going to be feuding with Cena, but you know that but because he's running this family faction thing, that they involve themselves in a lot of the.
By
stuff.
the way,
they even came out during his match.
Am I off base, or is he basically Dom Toretto? Is that the gimmick?
It's a family thing, but it's more like
it just seems like a
Dom Toretto thing. But it's more like I'm the lord of this family. I'm the head of the table, the tribal chief. All those catchy catchphrases you can put on merchandise that probably Heyman has come up with.
I see. What
it's
you're
not
saying.
like
it comes off as Dom Toretto.
It's not a wholesome thing, only because the word family is thrown around.
Oh my God.
We've had the memes,
but they know that
the family memes.
Paul Heyman knows that.
Luckily, the family memes have faded away, and we're now into the Joe Rogan meme.
Oh,
this week, the Joe Rogan meme has supplanted the family meme, which had supplanted. I don't know what was before that.
That's the thing.
Maybe like a Loki meme. They come. And
it's like every 2-3 weeks now, man.
But it's like
through.
when you get that like stream, it's gold. Everyone really puts. I mean, like the family stuff was coming hot and heavy, and there was a lot of good ones in there. Yeah, there were a lot of good ones.
So all right,
so
Usos did that.
So they need. I guess they feel, even though. They didn't have to put the tag belts on them, but I think they want to put this dominant faction thing on, that they have the tag belts.
Oh, he's 100% fucking up one of probably the best ideas they've ever had with Roman, who is now, what, a 10-year project?
Well, he's not fucking it up.
No,
because they're letting it continue.
Well, but like, like
in 2 years, they'll punish him for it.
Oh yeah, he's done. Like you almost kind of feel like, oh, he's fired, but as long as we're running this gimmick, he has a job.
No, it's going to be like after WrestleMania.
Yeah,
when he fights The Rock, and this whole thing culminates to whatever it is. That then they'll put whichever one it was that has the DUIs, they're going to put him on like a 2-month suspension right after that.
Is that supposed to be, by the way, is that supposed to be the idea, or did you just were you facetious?
The talk is, well, look, they're brought in.
Have they done Rock and Roman yet?
No, I don't think they occupied the fucking WWE at the same time. Main roster, they sure didn't. Unless maybe they crossed paths at a WrestleMania that The Rock did after he was gone.
Oh, I think The Rock was the one he hosted, and he came in, and I mean, he did everything he could to put Roman over. That was supposed to be the crowning of Roman Reigns. They booed that. Yeah, and it was like it was the most terrible.
The most they worked together is in that Rock movie with Statham.
Wait, is that he beat Cena? Because that's how Rock and Cena started.
Who beat Cena?
Didn't Roman beat Cena for the belt with the Rock coming in, and it was a big crowning moment, and that led into the Rock doing the 2-match series with Cena, didn't it?
I don't.
I think that all tied together. But anyway, regardless, so they've never done Rock and. But dude, you know what though? What did I say last night? Like, oh man, if Dwayne was ever going to come out of retirement, and you want to do it while he's in fucking Black Adam shape.
Yeah.
So,
dude, he's always in Black Adam.
No, dude, have you seen the set pics? Jesus Christ, Ben.
He's a big boy.
He said it's like this is the hardest thing he's ever done as far as bodybuilding.
He's committed to a lot of it down the road. So
Jesus
hopefully,
and we thought Pain and Gain was the pinnacle, the peak.
it's what happens when you refuse to wear a muscle suit.
Nothing fits him. He's got to wear like blankets and sheets over him.
So I do think that that Cena's the warm up for The Rock.
Yeah,
because we've been talking about this that night. There's no who does. It was Edge. You're bringing in all the guys who were stars in an era of stars. There's no stars in the WWE anymore. So you got Edge. He puts over Roman, and that can still continue after. That can be an in the mix thing until Mania.
I like their finishes. Their finishes.
You've got Edge.
Yeah. You've
got Cena, and then who else you could unless Brock's going to come in or someone else. Who else does Roman work with to elevate him even more? There's no one on his level in the WWE, and in the WWE, there's no one on the level of Cena, Edge. I'm sorry, I had this argument with someone online on Facebook, some rando.
Oh, you telling me about that?
They were like commenting on a WWE picture, and they listed like 5 people that they felt like this is ridiculous. Why are they holding down Balor and Cesaro and Nakamura and I forget who else? And instead Edge, who's like 50, and I had to explain to this person because Edge coming off 10 years retirement off the couch brings more to the table than any of the guys you mentioned. Of all like the things, of all the tangibles that you judge a wrestler by and how good they are, like size, ability to work, ability to talk, ability to actually evoke something from an audience, ability to tell a story in the ring. I just listed 5 things. Edge has all of them in spades. None of the other guys have all of those things. Balor doesn't have size. I don't know that Balor's a great promo. Yeah, he can wrestle, but he doesn't tell a great story in there.
He's so fucking overrated.
Cesaro's closer, but still not as big as Edge. Doesn't. Do you know what Cesaro has?
Nakamura
can't do promos. It's like
listen, I'll fight you to the bone. I think Nakamura should have entered the champion, and he should still have the belt, and there should be no opportunity whatsoever for him to have lost it to this point.
But compared to Edge,
for an American audience, yes,
Edge has the advantage on him on all these things that you want to like and draw. There's number 6. Edge is a draw as soon as you say his name.
The only way
none of those other guys are a draw. And you can't say it's because of being held down. Edge became a superstar amid a sea of superstars. None of these guys are trying to claw out of someone else's shadow. There's no shadows being cast.
You're right. You're right, but for the wrong reasons. You're right because Edge is the best choice currently right now because he's that last attitude guy. Because that's when he broke in. He broke in the attitude and all the fucking Edge and Christian stuff, all the WrestleMania 17 ladder matches that they were famous for, the Intercontinental. I mean, Edge has been around a long fucking time in the WWE. He's the best guy because out of all those names, he's the only guy that you can go back to a time when we all agree wrestling was at its peak. And he was a superstar at that moment.
It's proven by the ratings.
Yes, and he was a superstar at that moment.
The money that they drew.
And
the company they kept.
And then everything he did afterwards, it's unquestionably Edge, but not because he's better than any of those other guys. That's in this moment to fit what we need against Roman. He's the best.
He's better than all those guys because he has all the things required. None of those other guys have all the things required.
But it's in the way they're booking Roman, the way they're booking this angle, where they're leading to if they're leading to The Rock. No, Edge is the best guy right now because he's the most capable the spot asked for him. None of the other ones have the tenure, the time, or any of that stuff.
I feel like if Rock had said no, they would have held off and put Cena at Mania.
You know what? I agree with you because there's no one else.
There's nobody else.
There's no one else.
Who else out there that's not a full timer now? He already beat. Beat Brock. So bringing Brock back is like, who else out there is there that's like it's like he keeps beating greater and greater things. You know, you got Edge, you're working up a ladder. You're Brock, Edge, Cena. Now who would qualify more than Cena?
There's only one person
for Mania.
There's only one person, but it's impossible. There's no way it'd be Austin, but that's
he's not. Not. It's never gonna happen.
And no, like the last time I think like a week or two ago, I caught one of his new podcasts.
And I think Austin would rather work other guys.
You see Austin now, and you're like, "There's no way."
Well,
that guy's not getting into wrestling, right?
Well, I see him.
He's in shape, but no.
I mean, he looks great. He looks great.
No. If Steve, okay. Just as a pure theoretical.
I test, yes.
It's a pure theoretical. If Steve Austin was wanting to work, there's only two people he could work. And that's Cena or Reigns. That's it. That's the only two people because, and it would have to be Roman. It would have to be Roman because what does Cena have to really gain by that?
No. What does the WWE gain by that?
Because you know
they don't build anyone.
Actually, you know what? I would say if he was,
because I was saying he could work an Edge. Edge would carry him through a match.
If
people would love that. Edge Austin never had a thing.
No, they never crossed paths. It would be as a favor to Vince to be that one piece to get Roman.
He doesn't know. He never. Trust me. He doesn't see that he owes Vince that favor. Ever.
This is all theoretical.
Right.
If Steve Austin goes, I'm going to do the best business possible, the best business decision as far as caring about the business and giving back is giving Roman that at Mania.
The best thing Austin has ever done for his legacy is stay out of that fucking ring since he retired. He's the one man that fucking did it and held to it.
The best money decision is John Cena. Unquestionably. Actually, excuse me. The best money decision is Dwayne. I mean...
Yeah, but they've...
but...
You mean Austin Rock?
That's the best money decision.
I mean, I guess, although...
Oh, bro.
I'm just saying... I'm just saying for this sake, they've already done their battles.
No, I agree.
There might be a bigger sizzle to something you haven't ever seen before.
But as a pure theoretical, the best money decision, if Dwayne wants to work again, if we're playing the theory that it's him and Roman, it would be Austin Rock. But it's all fucking retarded. The only reason Steve Austin would step foot in a ring is to either have a money moment with Cena as like Cena's big payoff for all the bullshit he went through and not being respected for that long time that he held the company. As the guy and no one gave a fuck about him. That would be his that would be that big moment. Or it would be to be that final piece. Like, if Roman isn't over after this, we have thrown away the last decade of WWE.
No, he is over. I think this whole thing with Heyman has worked phenomenally for him.
I will say the little snippets I saw last night, having never watching the product, Heyman has worked his magic again from what I've seen. But I think here's what's hard for me. I don't think Roman Reigns is a credible fucking professional wrestler in any capacity. He's a fucking entertainer. He just knows how to get from point A to point B. He has no idea how to tell a story. He has no idea how to evoke emotion in anything he fucking does. He doesn't know how to sell. It's off and on occasionally throughout his matches. And it's the same old shit every time because once he found his comfort level, they just press pause on him. So I've never really seen a motherfucker work, so I don't really respect his in-ring shit, and it makes it hard for me to even it's just like, there's so many other deserving guys, because he's not a great promo, in my mind, and I don't really...
I mean, Rollins has more of those things we ticked off than he does.
Rollins, I don't know why Rollins isn't the man right now.
Because the same reason AJ Styles isn't, the same way.
Fucking AJ Styles! Jesus fucking Christ! Did they drop the ball with that motherfucker?
No, they didn't drop the ball. It's like you get your time, and then it's at a certain point, it's now you're helping. It's like we helped you, now you help us, and it's like now we gave you a run. Now come help elevate some guys. Come pull out of the title picture so other people can play in that sandbox and get their ability, and then we'll revisit you later again.
Actually, speaking of AJ, they had the best match last night.
You like that the most?
That was my favorite match. That was the only match where I really enjoyed what they were. Listen, Edge and Roman wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. I just don't enjoy watching Roman Reigns work.
I didn't. There were if you want to nitpick that match, there's a couple things. When we had the Charles Robinson ref bump, then it was 20 minutes before. It was 20 minutes before another ref ran out to the ring.
So stupid.
Brutal. 25. I'm exaggerating, but it felt like it was 20 fucking minutes. It was ridiculous.
It was a legitimate 5 to 8.
And then you started to threaten get a little schmozzy with the Usos and the Mysterios and all this shit going on the outside of the ring. The fucking finishes kill me, man. The fucking finishes kill me.
In fact, to get back to that point just for a moment, we live in a day and age where everyone knows that your product is so cleanly edited and so clean. You've done this for so long that it's so processed that you know exactly how you're hitting all your marks and what's happening. Everyone knows this.
That's not edited. That's more choreographed.
No, I mean the way they edit their shows and the way that they produce their shows. No. The way they live produce their shows. They've been doing it for so long. Everyone knows. There should never be more than 10 seconds where an active referee's not immediately out there.
Right.
It's just retarded in every capacity.
If you can't book a good story, if you can't tell a good story that can't work around the fact that
those days don't exist.
There's an ever-present ref. If his head's turned for a minute, that's one thing.
Yeah. He's distracted or something.
But you're running a pay-per-view, a big pay-per-view. It's the main event at a big pay-per-view. And you're telling me that you're now expecting the audience to go along with the fact that you've run out of refs, and that you're ref goes down, you've got Vince McMahon sitting at the computer watching. It's get a ref out, people are trying to believe in this.
Yeah.
And you do things like no ref comes out for 10 fucking minutes. It's no, you got tell the story another way that doesn't fucking insult your audience. We're with you. We want to be with you. We want to go along for this ride. We forgive a lot. We're willing to accept a lot for the sake of pro wrestling.
God, do we?
But don't fucking have a ref bump. And that's really, it bothers me. If I ran a wrestling company, and maybe I will one day, but I'd always love to run something. But if I ran something, I think really unique.
We know you don't like running.
Fuck you. I don't see you doing a lot of running.
I'm genetically superior in some ways.
You'll be running from wait till you get my age. You'll be running from your responsibilities. But I think a nice touch would be to do something a little more logical. And I like AEW was doing it for a minute with wins and losses, and
Have they just gotten away from that?
Sticking more to keeping counts on, tag matches, having that other guy in and out of the ring and stuff like that. But they got away from it a little bit. What would be nice would be a promotion that can fucking book stories that don't involve an unconscious ref and no other ref. When a ref goes down, another one goes in, or all your matches have two refs. Could you imagine if you had to actually book interesting stories where there's a ref in the ring and there's a one in the wings? He's an outside ref, an outside presence to keep guys from doing run-ins, so that when you do a run-in, it's way more special. Or when you do have both, if you bonk both refs' coconut heads together, so there actually isn't a ref present, but it makes it so much of a rarer special thing.
Yeah.
It's if you have a chair shot in every fucking match, then the chair shot ceases to become a special thing. it loses its meaning. Same thing with these referees. It's like when you do this, when every match has run-ins and the ref bump and 10 minutes of shenanigans go by before another ref comes out, like
it's dumb.
At least if you're going to do that, at least cut to the back and have like one of the producers, whether it's Adam Pearce or someone running around going, I need a ref, get me a ref, and they can't find one. At least give us that to explain it. You know what I mean? It's painful. We were sitting there, that's all we could talk about. We had lost. You had pulled us out of the match. We stopped commenting on what was happening in the match. And all we were doing was mocking the fact that there was no ref for 10 minutes or whatever it was, So go back to the Charlotte Flair one, since we were kind of like, wait, hold on. So you came in
during the women's,
which again, when you pop in and Earl's there, and we're all talking. I don't even remember. All I remember was Nikki Cross won it. I could tell you one damn thing.
I think all the girls were on the ladders fighting, and then Nikki Cross climbed on top of all of them and
I think all but one. I think there were 7 girls on 3 ladders.
And whatever. I mean, again, none of us were paying very much attention to the fucking match, so there's nothing to really critique or say. It's a women's multiple ladder match.
It was interesting that Vince chose Nikki Cross in this new gimmick to have the Money in the Bank briefcase, which basically means that you're planning down the road at some point in time to have her in a title match, ideally to win the belt. It's kind of like winning King of the Ring, you're or winning the Rumble. You're destined for a big match. Except when you're Otis. But so it was interesting. I guess he's really embraced her new gimmick and has decided that we're going to keep running with it. We were
good for her, man.
We were joking that the senile old man probably just calls her Molly Holly all
probably,
the time, because he sees her in the
good work, Molly,
in a superhero costume. Or goes through all of them, calls her Rosie, calls her fucking Shane, all the superhero fucking names.
I hope we find out he just calls every woman Linda. Like, we just find that out someday. It's like, no, it doesn't matter what your name is.
More insulting will be like some side piece he was banging in the 80s.
No, that's why it's Linda, because he knows he can never get it right because there's too much going on all the time. So if he's going to cheat, he's never going to get the name wrong because there's always Linda. Like one of those like crazy minds. Vince seems like one of those guys though that like he thinks that he probably takes easy, like the days that he feels are really easy for him would probably like make us vomit. Because all the stories you've ever heard, and I listen to a lot of Cornette and I listen to a lot of Jim Ross and all those podcasts.
Pritchard.
And Pritchard. And Vince is always painted as a guy who's super fucking, zoned in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whatever he's paying attention to, that has all of his attention. And nothing else kind of matters. So, he seems like a guy that would have a little thing for everything.
Well, good thing it was mostly wrestling and not as much football and bodybuilding and those other.
See, I don't think the XFL the second time around was his fault. It was bad timing.
It was a pandemic.
Yeah, because it was a lot more entertaining the second time around.
Well, we'll see if they ever do anything with it. Rock's kind of just sitting on it. He just bought the IP basically.
Fucking just added it to his. The Rock is collecting property and shit.
Yeah.
Like just intellectual property.
Yeah. Well, to him that's the deal he got on that was as nice as the deal Vince got for WCW.
Yeah.
That's what
which is Vince is probably like, listen, just cover the cost. Yeah. It's yours.
Yeah, maybe that was the agreement. I'll sell you this at a sweetheart deal, and you come do a WrestleMania in the future.
So
with Roman when the time's right.
So best match was AJ. The
AJ and Omos or whatever his name is against.
Okay, Kevin Nash 2.0. That guy,
the Diesel. That Kevin Nash. You made a good observation. That's Kevin Nash and HBK.
100%, man. Yeah. 100%. And it's almost the exact same way.
Except I think this guy wrestles better than Kevin Nash.
There's two distinct differences.
Yeah.
One, he doesn't play. Well, I don't know that he's ever professionally played basketball, so I don't want to judge. But two, he hasn't had 14 fucking knee surgeries before he even got in the fucking
Right.
WWF. Okay.
Yeah, Nash. I have a feeling there's a story from Nash that was like he basically went to wrestling because he couldn't play basketball.
Like
anymore.
that was 100%. I believe.
Because he was like a big he was a big college star. I thought, like heavily recruited.
But he was like Oda, man. His knees just
well, that's this almost guy. I made the Odom comparison. It's like they're like early 20s, but they look like they're early 50s.
Jesus Christ. Fucking Odom came out of high school. Was like, oh, he's got 2 mortgages.
I mean, well, that dude had a full beard in middle school.
Yeah,
you know? Greg Odom.
It's taller than everyone in elementary school, probably. Yeah. No, the new guy. What's his name? I just called him Big O because I couldn't. It was Umso or Umo.
Almost. I call him Almost. I think.
Yeah. Listen, he is doing everything they can ask out of him, and he's doing it well.
Yeah.
There's so much more to this business.
I mean, he's super green. Obviously,
he's greener than when Braun was green.
I was gonna say, he reminds me of early Braun.
Yeah,
you know,
he might be why they were like, well, you can cut. Beside the contract, he might have been why they were like, well, Strowman can go because we're replacing him currently. You know.
I mean, maybe
and we'll just edit out. We'll just edit out what we didn't like about the way you brought him up. We'll talk about money less with this guy.
Yeah. Well, I think that. Yeah, I don't. It's weird why they got rid of Braun Strowman. I understand that they were paying him.
Something happened.
They were paying him a fortune, but that was on them for doing that panic, like that panic move they did like 2 years ago, right when AEW was kind of forming, where they were like re-signing people early to longer contracts for bigger money, and they were signing every independent wrestler they could find.
They were kind of WCW in it,
and now it's funny because now they did all these mass signings and stuff, and they all have places for them.
And now they did the purge.
And now they're purging people, and it's good for everybody because a couple of years in their system, learning at least how to work on TV.
Do you know what I'm happy for? I'm happy for a guy like Strowman who's been in that system. Like he's only known the WWE system. He's only traveled to something 100 days a year or whatnot. Like he got in, got paid. And he never has to work again, you know, as far as...
He will. He will.
He'll
take Tony Khan's money, and he'll shine like a fucking diamond.
But Ben, he can take a year off.
He's not going to.
Not take a year off and not do anything, but he could just work out and do his own shit, kind of level his head and come back full steam in a year. In a year, if Braun Strowman shows up ready to make a lot of money in AEW, my God, man.
I think he'll show up in 90 days.
See, people just want.
He's already shaved the beard off. He's gotten even leaner. He's gotten bigger.
You were gonna say even tanner.
Even leaner, bigger. Earl sent me a video today of him like boxing. You know, doing some boxing stuff.
Speaking of big guy, fucking the best moment of last night was Big E getting that fucking briefcase.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
I mean,
that's a guy that truly, honestly deserves it.
There were a few guys in there I wouldn't have been surprised if they got it. I was surprised they gave it to Big E finally. It's like because they keep saying it's his time, and they keep teasing it by starting to put him in programs that then like kind of fizzle or don't go where they need to go, or the guy he's feuding with they fucking cut out of the company or whatever, you know. So you're like, it kept feeling like a little start-stop with him for too long, where you're like, oh. All right, this is not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
When, you know, and then here you go. So fingers crossed, you know. I think he'd be a very entertaining champion for them. And it's like the same vein. It's like you've got your Brocks, your Lashleys, you know. I mean, he fits that mold, those big fucking powerhouse guys, you know.
Here's the difference between him and all them others. Big E oozes charisma from every fucking pore in his body. That dude is one of the most entertaining guys that has been relegated to the fucking mid card, and I'll never ever understand why. After that first big run with the New Day, they should have all sat down and go, "Why isn't Big E our champion now?" He just proved that he could check off the one box that so many super athletic big guys can't check off.
They took care of Kofi first.
Oh, and Kofi 100% fucking. I mean, Jesus Christ, that's one of the best moments of the business that I actually went back to watch was Kofi winning the belt.
Yeah,
because that was awesome. Didn't he just take advantage of his opportunity?
Yeah. Well, there was. He wasn't even supposed to be in the.
Some other guy was supposed to be in the
Elimination
match.
Chamber.
Yeah,
it was Mustafa Ali. He got injured, so they threw him in that, and
they gave him Mustafa's push.
They started to feel it was one of those organic, like Daniel Bryan things.
Yeah,
and it was one of those rare times where the powers that be actually listened and went with the hot hand, and it went all the way to him winning the belt. It's so rare that they don't resist that, and hear the fans and decide what they're going to do. They know better. The fans, it was definitely a very Daniel Bryan like kind of thing.
You think,
until they totally jobbed him out,
do you think,
and then didn't even give him a rematch.
Do you think this begins Big E's? This might be like his first run to a Mania, like the very slow. This is the beginning of that build to him cashing. I mean, do you think he cashes out before Mania? I don't know how the storytelling works with the WWE
I don't know
anymore.
Because I don't know what their plan is with Lashley.
Do they know how to wait?
I can't imagine him going to the other brand and them interjecting him into the Roman thing. I think Roman's destined to be champion at least through Mania, and so it feels like it would spoil that moment for him to cash it in after Roman has like this big match at Mania. Like if Roman comes out on top, you're crowning him as the best ever. He beat his cousin, he beat this guy, he beat that guy, and then like within that same breath doing something with Big E doesn't make sense. I think Big E will be fighting for that other belt. God willing, it's for the the Raw title and not the NXT title. I hope he doesn't decide. They don't do something stupid like that. But I feel like Lashley, and the Hurt Business thing could do with like they could feud back and forth over that belt for a few months. Big E wins it at, I don't know. Maybe he wins it at, maybe cashes it in at the Rumble or something, and has it through Mania, defends it through Mania, something like that.
I guess it'll depend on how the audience reacts to him from now on.
I can't imagine he would cash it in too quickly. I
think what they're doing with him is
building sentiment's going to help him.
Yeah, this will be a slow build.
Same thing with Nikki. I can't see either of them cashing it in quickly.
They'll find a strong. They should find a strong heel to attach him to for a little while. It'll build that sympathy. I don't know who fucking heel or baby.
Well, he's kind of been like.
I have no idea. I literally don't know the day to day. I think he's. I don't even know the roster.
The problem is he's on SmackDown.
Okay.
His boys are on Raw. His boys, like Kofi, just fought for that belt with Lashley. So it gets a little convoluted. I don't know how they're going to figure it out.
By the way, does enough get talked about how Bobby Lashley's not a human being?
I mean, but we know he is. I do
have my infamous Bobby Lashley story. My embarrassing Bobby Lashley story.
Yeah.
It was the last Ronin show for me, and Lashley was working Drew.
Yeah.
And he got to the building and needed to go to the gym. Asked anybody if they had any pre-workout before he went. Huss, your roommate, took him to the gym down the street from the War Memorial. And I give him my pre-workout. And he just takes a scoop of powder, throws it on in there, and that was that.
Just swallowed it dry. Didn't even chase it with water or anything.
I mean, he eventually did chase it with water, but not initially.
Just chewed it a little.
Like, he didn't have the water bottle out, did this, and then drank it. Like, he threw it in, like, thanks, bro. And then, did a few things and then reached down, took a jug, and I'm just sitting there in fucking awe.
That was probably just washing down the last of it.
Yeah,
Like,
and I'm
whatever
sitting there and I'm just like, what? How? Because anybody who works out knows the strong pre-workout, like that stuff that's almost like the cinnamon challenge, man. So I saw him do it, and I'm like, hey,
well, it's so dry. It's like you're swallowing dry powder.
Yeah.
So,
and I was like, I could do that. Hint, I can't.
Did you do it in front of him?
That's the thing I can't remember, and I don't know if Huss can speak to it or not. I don't know if I did it.
He already left.
I think I was in such awe about what I just see. Like everyone else was just going about their business, but I was like, you could do that? And I think he had left. I think he left. I looked at Johnny and I was like, oh, I'm gonna try that. And Johnny's like, I wouldn't do that. And I'm like, well, he did it. I'm like, yeah, it's Bobby Lashley.
Johnny Vandal, by the way.
Yeah, Johnny Vandal. And I was like, I'm gonna try it. Ladies and gentlemen, I would never recommend this. It was awful. It hurt so bad. Mm-hmm. And Rhino was in there. Rhino was in the room. I think Justin Credible may have been in the room.
I mean, physically he was in the room.
Well,
he may have been astral surfing or something.
The best part about that day, by the way,
traveling.
was the pre-show where we're standing on stage, and this is during that moment of the day where I felt like, hey, it'll be all right. Everything's gonna be okay. Was quickly changed, obviously, but during that moment, me, PJ, just incredible, and Bruce sat there, and he just talked about rehab and reconnecting with
with Bruce?
Yeah, Bruce, because him and Bruce like knew each other.
Okay,
like they're boys, I guess.
Bruce Owens,
yeah,
the ref,
and he just started going on about his fucking fucking up in the WWE and fucking that up and being fucking broke and needing $900 here and hoping like glad he got this gig because he can pay his bills and I'm sitting there because I'm standing there and I'm looking at Bruce and Bruce is like, you can tell Bruce has heard this story from a lot of guys because Bruce Owens knows everybody and has seen all these guys go through their shit, especially all the guys in the 90s.
Yeah.
In the 80s when 80s and 90s when Bruce was like on the peak of what he was doing as a ref. And
he was a ring announcer back then, I thought.
I think he did a lot of everything.
Probably a little of this, a little of that.
And so he knows everybody and you could tell that, but me, who just harkens back to his 14-year-old self watching ECW and then watching the broken man in front of me, I was just like, all right, this is an example of who not to be and how not to turn out. Like if wrestling starts to go south, it's not the worst decision to do anything else with your life. And at that moment, with what happened that night, I'm glad I got to experience that. That was the best part of the day. That and shaking Booker T's hand and going like, I'm not big enough for these guys. Like Booker T's a very, very big person.
There was a lot of considering going for your contractor's license that night.
Booker T's one of those guys you see on TV. He's like, he's average size. You see in person, like, no, there's nothing average. You know what? I was thinking about this last night when we were talking about it. I was like, this is like what happened when I met Cam Wake.
Oh yeah.
When I went, you're another subspecies of human.
Yeah.
like what the fuck, man?
It's always funny when the largest guy in the room goes to that next level. It's like when the best high school player goes to college. Yeah. And everyone there's the best high school player.
Yeah.
That's
it was 100% there's another step to this.
Yes, there are certain guys when Jackie and I used to go do the autograph stuff in the late early 2000s. There were certain guys you would meet and they were just enormous. And it was like, and they were deceptively big. Billy Gunn. Yeah. Deceptively big. Nash is
appropriately sized for his name and size.
Booker T, deceptively big, and then you bump into Stevie Ray, who's like fucking like 4 to 6 inches bigger, taller than him, way thicker than him. And I mean, Stevie Ray's the coolest guy in the fucking world, but the guy's fucking immense. Like TV doesn't translate it well.
Same with
in person. You're like, holy shit.
The two most glaring examples in my mind of what TV doesn't do justice to is that TV doesn't do justice to Randy Orton.
Well, TV
at
doesn't
all.
do justice to a lot of people. Some of it's size, some of it's looks, but like, but we'll go. Yeah, Randy's a big dude.
Because Randy, I remember we were waiting for Jillian's friend Tiffany, who had gotten she was gonna do an on-air segment until they saw her. Soul Man had got her the spot through holy shit, Dean. One of the fucking agents. I can't think of his fucking name. Holy shit! Like his
Simon
face is right
Dean?
there. No, not
Dean Malenko?
Dean Malenko. There you
Okay.
go.
I didn't want to say
Malenko would
Malenko.
ask Soulman. Soulman got the Tiffany. She had just been in less than a year, and I'm sitting there fuming because I don't like this girl. And I was telling Jillian, I'm like, I hope she fails. And she's like, don't say that. I'm
Who's Tiffany?
like, just this random fucking girl that
Was going to one of the schools or
she was
something?
going to the CCW school, and
Was she good looking?
no.
I just wanted to get you to say she was.
No, sir. And she tried too hard with the makeup, so it didn't make it any better.
Oh yeah, it's
And she was one of those, I'm just gonna get by on being a woman in wrestling, not working out, doing any diligence on their craft at all. Just basically being
Not putting any work in.
I know the list of dudes that she has that she ran through in the business. Okay, all the locals and shit. I mean, she did like she knew I didn't like her.
yeah. But did Seth say he fucked her?
Oh God, I don't even fucking want to. Oh, probably.
That's inside stuff. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys.
But she went in the building and like 25 minutes had gone by, and we're seeing some of the guys walk back and forth. I think we had an interaction with Paul London, who was fucking higher than a kite, and him and Hoovy.
I love Hoovy.
Where they were up to hijinks and catering.
Uh-huh.
So I was pretty much preoccupied with that because I'm like, why are we at a WWE fucking E show like fucking 3 hours before for this bullshit? And I just want her to fail because she's legitimately she's fucked more guys than months in the business at this point. And I'm just like, I know exactly why she's in that building, and I am fuming with rage. So I'm just like, I hope she fucking fails.
So what you're saying is that she probably touched Soul Man's dick.
Oh, 100%. It's not even a question.
Yeah. Okay.
And like 30 minutes goes by, and Jillian gets a call. I think we were about to go get food, because security had taken Paul London and Hoovy's golf cart at that point from them, so they couldn't. It was great. It was great.
You said hijinks. I didn't know it involved the golf
No, they
cart.
did. They stole a golf cart at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, and then at one point, Paul London tried to put a dead rat he found in a inconspicuous place, and catering to cause a ruckus, and I believe it worked based on the reaction that I saw. So
A dead rat will get anyone. Put it near the food. It's like times 10. Yeah.
it was one of the moments where I'm like, I want to work here.
Yeah.
But as so Jillian gets a call and it's like, she's coming back out, and I remember George was just like, what happened? And Jillian's like, she doesn't know. At that point, we didn't know. I didn't find out till later that fucking
From who?
huh?
Later. Who told you later?
Who did tell me later? I think it was Jillian. Jillian told me
Okay.
later. It was Jillian. Okay, I didn't know if it was Jillian or George. And I think it was Jillian.
I'm biting my tongue on so many
Yeah.
jokes with this
yeah.
when you're involving Jillian in these stories. But let's
Oh. So the story goes that the second that she needed to know where to go. They took her to where the extras get dressed. Malenko came in, asked her name, asked her, I guess, a few questions, left, politely left. It's like, okay, stick here, and we'll figure, we'll we gotta go. And apparently got on the phone, called Alex, and was like, "What the fuck is this?" That's just what I've heard. That was the story that was told to me. And then it was like, do you have anyone else? I need to put someone on TV. Do you have anyone that can go on TV? And at the time, no. No one was training. Jillian was training.
Right.
So it was either that was your pick of the litter.
That's not, yeah.
So, and that's what I don't think a lot of people understand at the indie level is, okay, cool. You cool with that in front of 2 million, 12 million people, or whatever it is? Like, you cool to look like that in front of, that many eyes. Like, okay, cool. You're wrong, but okay, cool. And that was one of those moments. So that's... She came out of the building, but as she came out of the building, Randy was coming out of his trailer. And I remember like standing there, and they kind of like walked like within... there was enough where I had context of size. Mm-hmm. And then she walked up, and she had tears in her eyes and stuff. And I measured, like, as she's crying to Jillian about it, and they're having the whole to do. Holy fuck. Like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, he's like fucking 5 inches taller than me. Yeah. Like, Randy Orton is a very large man. And and I say it, and you're going to think it's ridiculous, but Paul White. Jesus Christ, he's fucking huge in real life.
That's given.
It's so hard, though, I think, to get perspective when you're that big.
He's huge. Yeah.
What was my original fucking story about?
I don't remember.
There's gonna be people listening going,
deceptively big.
Goddamn.
I don't know. Originally we were talking about the pay-per-view that we were watching, the Money in the Bank. Ironically, I like. What's funny is I had I can't stand the peak. Going.
So
here we go.
Rewind back. I see Bobby Lashley walk out of the room. Okay. I look down at my pre-workout. I look at Johnny, and I go, I'm going to do this. I can do it, too. Don't do it, Prime. I can do this. I took a scoop. I slammed it down. My eyes burned for like 15 straight minutes. I was in so much pain. And I'm just on the floor, and I just remember, I think Rhino said something. He turned around, and I think he said something to the effect was like it's always a bad idea. Like he's probably seen this happen before, where some local indie guy's like, you can do that, and then of course try it. And no, Bobby Lashley isn't a human being, but he's that next evolution, and I don't think we praise him enough because he ended what we thought was his WWE career like 10 fucking years ago. Yeah. And he still looks like he's 19 years old.
he does look young. He does look big. I wouldn't call him deceptively big though.
No,
because he's not that tall.
He's not.
He doesn't fill the space. He's definitely a super thick dude, but he's not. He doesn't have that height thing. Which helps.
When I was interacting with him, he's one of those guys. I'm like, okay, I can look you in the eye. We're good. Right. And then I booked Booker T later, and I was on a high, and then I was immediately on a low. Because when you shake Booker T, there's 2 handshakes that I've shaken of those caliber guys. Him and Slaughter are the 2 distinct. When I shook their hands, and I went, "Oh, you're complete next level."
Yeah.
Like Slaughter, I remember with everything going on that day. I remember distinctly. It's one of the few distinct memories I have of that day is shaking his hand and going, "You could still kill me." Mm-hmm. Like that's the first thing that shot through my head when I shook his hand. And he's talking. He's like we're shaking hands. He is he's sent me grievances for my father had passed away the night prior, and all that was overshadowed by the fact I'm like, my God, you could kill me.
Did out of curiosity, since you brought it up, all of it. What kind? Do you remember any of the guys you were working with that night? The names like Slaughter and Hacksaw and all that. Them talking to you about that at all? About your dad and what you were dealing with and stuff? I was just curious if they
everyone
addressed it.
Everyone but Valentine, because Valentine was like the last second addition to it. He was just there.
Yeah.
And he just
that was good on Jimmy, the agent of those guys for conventions and stuff. That gets them booked for the convention, but we also wanted them to wrestle. And since we had wrestling at the convention, it's a double payday for them. But Jimmy, very interesting character. He's a little person, bald, kind of thick dude, kind of a carny personality.
Very, very carny, actually. Which is why he
fit well with the wrestlers.
Which is why he corrals the wrestlers professionally.
Fucking work Mike into including Valentine into that thing. And Valentine barely did anything. There was no reason for him to be there.
He did one thing.
And got him got him a second payday.
So Greg Valentine hit me harder with a microphone than I'd ever been hit before. That's the one thing. I remember I'm getting out of the Cobra clutch. I spin around and it's like plonk. And I'm like, ow, shit. Like I bumped because I was like, I almost screamed, fuck. It hurt. But you know, between the moment and my body was basically on autopilot because the match was very, very simple. Fucking Hacksaw had half a body to work with.
Yeah, Hacksaw was like literally had his surgery scheduled. And he was, I mean, basically one arm didn't work, really.
Yeah, no. That was the thing. Stay away from the arm.
Yeah.
I have in that match, I've never worked lighter.
It's funny. You got Hacksaw. You're working in the ring, who was like basically fighting you with one arm tied behind his back, not for the gimmick reason, but because the arm didn't work. You had Slaughter ringside, who claimed he couldn't step foot in a ring
because of his Legends contract.
And this was all 4th of July. And those two made sense because you got Hacksaw's very USA with the flag and stuff.
Valentine was here too,
and you were wrestling. As Cobra Commander. So we were desperate on the 4th of July to have Cobra Commander in some way engaging with Sergeant Slaughter. It just all kinds of G.I. Joe sense and on the holiday and all that stuff. It was a shame he couldn't step in a ring to do anything.
All things aside, dressed as Cobra Commander, being put in the Cobra clutch by Sergeant Slaughter, I can take that moment and put it aside of everything else.
Now,
that was awesome.
We love you to death.
Yeah.
Not you, the person I'm talking to.
Okay.
Here, who I know might be listening as he's editing photos. But Speedy kind of missed the fucking money moment.
He never got that money shot.
He didn't get the shot of Slaughter putting Cobra in the clutch.
I don't have a photo of it.
No, there isn't really one. If there is one, it's kind of like not.
It's like a Bigfoot photo.
It's not ideal. It's not like
you can kind of make me out on the inside.
And I don't know if that could be partially our fault for not. I mean, I feel like if you give Speedy the heads up to be looking for a certain moment,
buddy,
he'd be ready for it.
Buddy, most nights we probably would have walked through that.
Right. You had.
I was on autopilot.
Yeah, your father. Yeah, you had the whole your father thing going on, so you were barely there.
There's a story I've never told, I don't think.
But before we go to that,
okay.
Did you did any of them say anything?
Like I said, Slaughter. Like our introduction was, my deepest condolences, for your loss. Are you, basically like, you sure you want to do this?
Yeah.
And the answer was no, by the way. I look back at that moment and I'm like, if it's what my mom wanted, I'm happy with it, but I was 100% against it. Mm-hmm. I literally only did it for her. And it's not like a drag on anyone, understandably. My father had died 24 hours ago. How the fuck am I supposed to function? Thank God. Because there was only 2 outcomes. Because remember, we couldn't find them.
Well, that night, yeah. Well, see, here's the interesting thing. We're kind of mixing dates because didn't we?
Oh no, that's right. 2 nights. 2 nights. That was 48 hours.
We did like Thursday night. Set it up for Saturday. because Saturday was the 4th, and Friday you weren't there, and they were doing their thing. But I think Thursday night was when
Friday night I did the promo.
I think it was Thursday night.
No, because if 4th of July, if the 4th of July was
Saturday.
No, we did this on. Didn't we do this on the 5th? Or I did the promo on the 4th. No, it's the only way it works out because my dad died on the 3rd. Excuse me. Wow, on the 3rd. He died on the 3rd.
Okay, all right.
He died on the 3rd.
So
I did the promo.
Yeah.
I did the promo that he died on the Thursday. I did the promo on the Friday. We did the match on the Saturday.
Friday. Okay, that makes a little more sense. Friday was when you guys opened the show threatening to burn the Constitution or the American flag. Oh no, Dan tore the Constitution up, and I
was about to light it on fire.
And you were going to light the flag on fire. And
remember, we had discussed that for the better part of 6 months, where we were going to go with that. I was kept pushing to push, and everyone else around me was like, "That's such a terrible idea," but I'm like, "But it's such a good idea."
Yeah. See, we thought that was edgy until
then we did Hitler.
until we had Hitler march to the ring.
By the way,
with the Red Skull.
Us and Taika Waititi are the only people that ever done Hitler without backlash.
Yeah, we did under the radar that.
We did it really under the radar.
I mean, and it wasn't like we were like coy about it. We literally had a short guy grow a fucking mustache for 2 months, and we got a fucking historically accurate Hitler outfit for him.
Which puts probably Dan on a watch list, which before everything I would have felt bad about and no longer do.
Well, no, Dan bought his own shit. I bought the Hitler costume.
So you're on the watch list.
Maybe. Which is ironic that a Jew helped put the story together. A Jew ordered it. This Jew ordered the Hitler costume, put it on another Jew. Who went in the ring and got punched in the face by Alex dressed as Captain America.
We had Captain America punch out Hitler in the 4th of July weekend. We won. We win.
I mean, huge pop.
We win.
Almost as big of a pop as the fans responding.
I was gonna say we should have known then that something was amiss with society.
We had like a few people throw the straight arm up,
and we were like, "Whoa!"
We looked at each other like, maybe this wasn't such a good idea.
See, Ben and I's problem is that the man who funded all of this gave us a lot of freedom.
Another Jew.
And we took that freedom and ran with it. A lot of late night poorhouse sessions.
In all honesty, any Hitler talk was approved by the boss, and he was all for it. I
think we did the thing where we fought him twice on it out of respect, and then we were pushing. Like, okay,
yeah, he was the one who wanted it.
We both wanted it, but we were like, well, out of respect, we have to turn this down twice.
Well, there was not
Mike. No, we can't possibly. Mike, no. Okay, Mike, we'll do it. And meanwhile, we're like, yes.
Well, because
it made sense. Everything we did made sense and gave.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Correct. It was all in correct context.
Here's the thing, because these are all 4th of July shows. Also, it made sense because Al was one of the more popular characters on the show as Captain America, especially when he took his shirt off, because back then he was ripped. He wasn't just kind of like weird amalgam of muscular and fat that he is now. And also it was we were consciously, because this was a comic book crowd, a convention crowd, we were consciously recreating the moment from the cover of Captain America Comics #1. The original Captain America issue has him punching Hitler out, so we were trying to recreate that in the ring. And in the audience, very good friends of the promoter, was Alan Bellman, who was one of the original artists of Captain America. And when I say original, not the first couple of issues, but he drew a lot of the issues in the Golden Age of comics, those early years in the 40s, and was one of the only, at the time, was like one of the last guys from that era still alive. So we were going to have him not ringside, but front row for it. So it was like all these moments and all this stuff that it was like, to us, we were marking out for it because it's all this cool comic book stuff. And all this and plus, we were all giggling inside that we were going to dress what's his name up as Hitler. You know, we were just what was his name? Kurt.
Yeah, Kurt.
We were all excited we were going to be dressing Kurt up as Hitler, and he was just this reluctantly like go along to get along.
If I remember correctly, he shaved the mustache in the back.
Well, he had been growing his beard and mustache, and just knew that like at the last possible moment, I'm trimming it to a Hitler stash
before he like exited the fucking.
And then
gorilla.
Before I come back out from backstage, I'm getting rid of the Hitler.
Yeah,
thing.
it was like, very quick.
It only existed for the time we needed it.
It's like the best art, though. It's temporary.
I mean, no, not necessarily.
Just the reaction. The reaction was concerning.
Yeah.
It foretold other times.
I feel like he could have, if he had decided like not to walk through the convention afterwards as Hitler, but maybe like if just hung around ringside after the show in the Hitler outfit and the mustache, he would have probably. I guarantee you, like maybe 100 people would have asked to take pictures with him. Instagram would have been flooded with pictures of him.
Oh my goodness, his life. Well, back then it would have been fine. If he'd have done that today, his life would have been ruined. It would have been over. Yeah. That's
well, he ruined his reputation at the shows for another reason.
Oh, but, fuck! You know, one of my favorite moments from FSCW is also that weekend. The moment where Jason David Frank. Jesus, no. Wrong Power Ranger. Austin St. John basically had to be convinced not to jump in the ring and start like getting involved. That guy was so excited to be there, and he was my brother's commander over in Kuwait when my brother was over in Kuwait for 2 years.
Yeah.
So
that's how we got him.
Basically. He came back over, and we made the family connection. And he did the con because at the time he's like he's just coming back over and it's like
he hadn't done cons.
I think it was one of the first cons he did, and it was fantastic. But he got back there and he started like wanting to call spots, and his people were like no, and I'm just like, I mean, we're like we don't want him in the ring. No, we totally want him to like do stuff, but like no, of course not.
Well, I remember watching it. Yeah. And he was okay. So what it was,
he almost pulled me off the apron, man.
What it was it was you were Cobra again and your crew. So it was all the Cobra characters versus the Justice League of Wrestling, which was Shane Helms, Derek as Green Arrow,
Hurricane Helms.
We had Agony as Link. So it was all green themed.
Yep.
And then instead of Jason David Frank, we had the Red Ranger.
Yes.
But I forget if there was anyone else. I think
it was a 6-man.
Was it a 6?
Or was it a 4? I have the infamous picture. I mean, Jude was it?
No, not Jude because he was doing the.
Nah, he was. Yeah. There's another thing we squeaked by. We've talked about that in the past.
Yeah.
The Alex DeLarge.
Yeah, his character was a little rapey at times.
I'm trying to think of who else it could have been, man.
I don't remember that there was.
I don't feel bad.
It might have been 3-on-3.
It might have been.
And so, but he came out with you guys, and he was at one point he was chasing around all the Jace Cobra guys that weren't wrestling but were at ringside with you because we had 8 Cobra characters at that time.
Yeah, we had a lot,
and they were trying to not only sell for him that he was chasing them around, but also wrangle him because he was all over the place.
I know
match.
He was legitimately
he was having a blast,
having the best time. It was like a kid who hadn't gone outside in a weekend. Yeah. He'd been sick, and this is his first time outside, and he's got to get it all in. Yeah. Before he goes back. Oh my God, it was.
I remember at one point I think Helms was a little.
Oh, he wasn't. That's right. Austin wasn't involved. Because his people didn't want him, but Shane put the kibosh on that. I think.
Helms wanted to control the chaos as much as possible. In fact, when those guys were running around on the outside, I just remember him chastising all of them to cool it,
And it's funny because I didn't at the time, but I can totally put myself in his shoes where he's like, I got to get out of here without getting hurt.
That, but also a little bit taking eyes off what's going on.
Well, he knows what he's doing.
Right.
He knows exactly what he's doing.
Right.
But also like I felt it was one of those moments where I felt good because I was like, Shane trusted me. I don't remember the fucking match. I know he took his finish. Yeah. and then the big photo I have that I love that maybe one day I'll fucking actually put on a wall is I really like that photo is Red Ranger and the Just League of Wrestling standing.
They're kind of standing over you.
Literally, their feet are on me, and I'm all like, ah! I love that photo. My best moments in FSCW was me putting someone else over, making the story the better. Because I was fucking Cobra Commander. I almost hated winning. But
Cobra doesn't win.
Well, but I had the belt.
in the cartoons.
Well, and that's the thing. Early on, because I was the best worker, we just put me on the belt. But then later on, when we were like, no, we're telling the better story.
Yeah,
the better story. And goddamn, man,
I think I vividly remember most the match you had with Agony, because you guys used first of all, Agony went through the gauntlet.
Agony. As much as he upsets me because he's a 12-year-old child, he was one of my favorite guys to work with because I could do anything I wanted with him. We did some crazy shit, man. Dressed in full cosplay, by the way.
Right, but I mean, in that match, you guys brought out all the gimmicks.
That's right,
and worked all the gimmicks. Like you had the power glove, and he had the hammer, and all the stuff worked. And that I felt like that match, because that was also for the belt. That I felt like that match, or that whole story leading to that match, just played out perfectly. Yeah. And it was told so well. The fans were super into it. We even got to play the fucking Karate Kid music at the end when he won. You're the best.
I forgot about that.
And it just like everything fucking worked right on that. Yeah. You know, I mean, I'm really proud of the Hitler stuff too.
Buddy, we pull.
But that whole stretch from those nights when we did the tournament thing and the gauntlet, and you ended up dropping the belt to Agony, all the way through to the Hitler stuff at the bigger show. I felt like that was our strong run. That was the best. I don't want to talk about after we left, but I think that was the strongest stuff that was ever done for that con.
The only reason I have any fond memories of that last show was because, other than the week leading up to it, it had already pretty much been written. We'd already your hands were all over it. We didn't change much.
Right, because we booked these goddamn convention shows, 3 shows in a we were booking angles that were that weren't for just that show. They were for the next show too.
When you left, we were literally running on all cylinders creatively. So we had already mapped out.
But autopilot.
Yeah, it was just we only changed things at that point based off audience reaction, wrestler availability. Yeah. We knew who everyone was, their strengths, weaknesses, and we could apply that. And we had gotten to the point where we knew everybody well enough that we knew that if we just took them over here and did this, that they're just going to succeed because the situation it was all the puzzle pieces fit. So that show was great, and I have one of. You
were starting to get some bad eggs in there, though.
Well, what happened was, with 2 weeks prior to that is when everything fell apart. But the show itself, that weekend itself, very few changes were made. The only change that was made was I as Winter Soldier was supposed to go over for the belt, and that was, of course, my falling out with the Broders. So they didn't trust me to have a fake title, we did the Red Skull thing, where Red Skull came out, used the fucking Cosmic Cube, was controlling me, and he pinned for the belt, and Good Times probably could have made it work. After that night, I'd give a fuck less. But that moment, the fans, I thought it was good. I poo-pooed it, because I was like, if we're gonna do it, I'll just put them over clean, and they were. This is where the Dan thing came in. Was super insistent on this, so they did it, and I'll eat crow where I eat crow, but the audience loved it, man. For whatever fucking reason, they really bought into it
because you brought.
We were already
because you're catering to stuff they're familiar with.
So even though I personally thought it was going to fail, it succeeded. So I was like, I remember laying there on the mat going like, oh, fuck, all right, well, okay. I can be in a bad mood, but as long as the show went well.
We had pretty much trained that audience.
Oh, yeah. They knew exactly what they were coming to see.
To be, they were going to love anything we did. Yeah. So whatever you threw them, whatever story.
Which is why which is why like my criticisms with wrestling, which is why they're so hard for me to change or to get around when I watch it live, because we did it, and it wasn't that hard. It took a lot of time, concentration, molding. It took time, but it wasn't hard. Just do the work. Yeah. And here you got people with millions of dollars at their disposal, and they're just putting on whatever shit show is a shit show, and it's all a shit show to me, man. Because I'm just like, you can tell compelling stories. It's not fucking hard. We did it. We did it with fucking comic book characters.
So speaking of shit shows, I wanted to get, when we were watching the pay-per-view, of course, the match that everyone is actually, only reason everyone's watching the show is for the men's Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. I mean,
nothing else matters.
I mean, okay, Edge and Roman's cool, but the name of the pay-per-view is Money in the Bank. Yeah.
Which is why it's really cool seeing Big E.
The second they start getting, like, the last match is over and we're starting to get into, like, we're going to have this match now?
Yeah.
Like, worldwide, the Peacock app, I guess it was not worldwide,
but
national,
that's what you want to talk about. Yeah.
The Peacock app was glitching. So we had been telling you all day, yeah, you got to see Nakamura's thing. The dude that plays him out, he's like this like metal guitar guy who does the high pitch introduction and then shreds on guitar.
They sold it as I'd get immediate hard on when I saw this
You would have loved it. And of course, through that whole thing,
was the one thing I didn't get.
We had to close the app and restart it 4 fucking times.
I left this building with blue balls, Ben.
The fucking
Nakamura blue balls.
It was so glitchy, and then it was working, but there was no sound. Reboot. Finally, it's working. It took a good 10 minutes. So we even missed the beginning third, maybe half of the fucking Money in the Bank match. I think third.
It took a while to get my interest back into it.
What a fucking shit show.
Because also at that time...
Also, the other shit show was ordering pizza.
I was about to say, because at that time, Pizza Holocaust was happening.
Pizza, yeah.
I ordered Domino's at like 8:30. An hour goes by, and I'm like, what the fuck's our pizza? I try to call the number, and it goes straight to the same thing telling me on the pizza reader. And so Natalia gets on like fucking Twitter or fucking the customer service text or whatnot, and we go back and forth. They literally ask me everything but my fucking DNA strains. Like they
as this is going on,
Earl
is trying to order basically the same thing from Jet's Pizza, and like missed the order window by like 5 minutes.
By like 5 minutes before they closed.
Yeah,
and then. So they refunded me at the same time that Earl got we're done. So then we're all like trying to figure out open pizza places.
I should have said, Earl, just go, do you know who I am?
Oh my God.
So,
oh my goodness.
and my roommate's like doing we should be arguing with someone. I go, you argue with someone that then has to make your food?
No.
You've already lost.
Yeah, I'll take the L every time, Ben.
You want that extra spit topping for free on your pizza? Yeah. You don't want to.
Yeah, I 100% take the L every time. Because I'm just like, nah, it's been
you
done.
You get your money back. It's not you're just
like, if it's that bad, you just give me a refund.
Right. So then Earl ordered from another place. And it was actually pretty good.
Listen, at that point.
The pizza was all right. The wings were good.
Yeah, they were good. I don't even know what place it was. I don't care. It was what we needed because we were starving. It
wasn't that close. It was DoorDashed in from like a little bit of a distance.
It was like two large pizzas and like 24 wings or whatever it was.
Yeah, it was like 2 orders.
And it was gone in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. Well, ironically, I wasn't going to eat. But then but the pizza arrived an hour later than it was supposed to. And by then, all this talk about food, I was like fucking hungry. So everyone ate.
I think other than maybe 2 slices of the pepperoni, I think I may have eaten that whole pepperoni pizza. I was just grabbing a slice and going, I need more. I'm so sorry. I'm so hungry.
I think I was the one I had one of those.
Oh, okay, you had a slice. Okay, cool. I don't know. I just kept going back. And at some point, I'm like, oh, more slices were taken. Like 2 or 3. Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
So I know that Earl had grabbed the one, so you grabbed the other. Okay. Yeah. No. The men's ladder. It was fine.
Well, we saw it.
You know, what we saw of it was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, those are just
Ricochet had a hell of a spot.
Fucking Ricochet. He's another one. Him and AJ are the two. I'm just like, they've wrestled the same way their entire careers, and they're not broken men, and I'm very impressed by that.
Yeah, but I feel like AJ's had a longer career.
Oh yeah,
and probably a lot more mileage. He doesn't do the shit Ricochet does though.
not anymore. He used to.
Not that kind
The
of
early
shit.
TNA day. Oh no, not the crazy, but the crazy like his early man. Some of the AJ Styles early TNA stuff when it was in a fucking a rodeo arena in a fucking Nashville on a Wednesday night, dude. Some of those matches were his like those matches with Low Key, those matches with basically that entire early run was.
I remember the MLW. I remember seeing an MLW.
Yeah. That early run was Amazing Red's entire career, as far as I'm concerned, which is great because he had some phenomenal fucking him and Low Key's crazy Matrix match is still one of the fucking craziest things I've ever seen. Where you're just like, I don't know how you're doing this. I don't, and I'm in the business, so I don't know what to say. You're moving so fast. And then he broke. But they did all the spots, man. I mean, it was a fine match. They did everything you're gonna do in a fucking multiple man, get the gimmick
Ricochet had a
match.
cool spot, and Owens had a big bump.
I don't understand Matt Riddle, but he's over, so whatever.
Well, you don't watch the weekly stuff, so you don't know the
just
humor and the character.
I just look at him and I'm like, I just don't like the fact that you got a job doing this. I just don't. He used to be a fighter. He was an Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, do they play that up in?
No, but I mean, I'm sure they touch on his UFC roots.
Okay, I didn't know.
At points, his MMA stuff at points.
I mean, he seems like a really cool dude. He really does. But I'm just like, I don't like you. I just don't.
And
and I'm sure if I met the guy, we'd have a great time. I just don't know what it is.
I forget what show he's on. If he's on Raw, I would assume Jimmy Smith would touch on that stuff more because they both come from MMA.
They both come.
But I don't remember it's funny. I watch so little of the WWE product nowadays that I can't tell you which roster half these guys are on.
Yeah.
I don't know which Orton and Riddle are kind of a tag team now.
Can we talk about really the only thing left to talk about with this pay-per-view?
What's that?
The fucking the subterranean ogre that Charlotte Flair has become.
Oh,
my God, man! I didn't know. I didn't know.
I mean,
I felt legitimately. We were watching her. And
it's hard to pin down what she has done to herself, but you can tell it's a gradual. What's so funny was they actually showed
the side by sides
shots of her from her other title wins, and it was literally like it's like, oh, she got. That's when you could say, oh yeah, you could tell between that one and that one she got cut on again. And by cut on, I mean went and saw the nip tuck doctor.
And listen, I don't really care, but this is a televised product.
But that moment when they showed her and then the other title shots of her from the years, it was like the many faces of Foley.
It felt like Michael Jackson.
It did.
It really did, man.
It did.
And look, man, do whatever the fuck you want to your body. I don't give a fuck.
I mean, if it makes you feel more secure, whatever. Yeah. But I feel like doing that doesn't make you more secure. It makes you feel less secure. It encourages you to keep doing it.
You get trapped.
Yeah.
Because it's never enough.
Yeah.
It's never enough.
And she's like really thinned up.
And here's the difference.
Her ass is completely gone.
She has the means. She has the means and resources to feed this addiction.
Yeah.
So this Picasso was only half painted, buddy.
Well, she's about to look like a Picasso. She's gonna have an ear over here and a fucking. The problem is that no one's going to look out for her. Everyone's gonna be afraid to say, "Go talk to like a shrink."
No, because even today it's all like, good for you. like you this is who you truly are kind of shit.
No, I don't feel like that's the same body positivity shit.
Dude, I think so.
No, because she's starting to look alien. Half of it's how lean she's gotten. But
that's really off-putting because her frame, she's tall.
Yeah.
So
you're already lanky.
Yeah, you got
when you get below a certain body fat percentage, it looks
bad, man.
And
she might be in fantastic shape, which is good on her.
Well, she is in terms of to be able to do that have a 20-minute match and stuff.
But I'm looking at it as the optics of a live program, and I'm just like, man, it's like.
To me, having no information.
Yes.
And being
complete armchair, both
the total
of us.
Armchair bullshit. We should have no business saying this.
None. We should not be talking about this.
But it definitely does not. She could be healthy as fuck, but it looks like she's not mentally healthy. I don't know what it is because she's got herself a man. She should be super happy. I don't understand what it is, but I don't know. I mean, you're starting to hit it. I know she's not the youngest person on the roster. And so maybe that's
she's early 30s at her most.
Oldest? I don't know. I think she's
younger than me by a lot, I thought.
I don't know.
I'm looking it up.
I don't know. It's not like she went from high school to wrestling. I couldn't tell you. But we will sit here while you...
35.
Yeah, well, that's...
mid-30s.
Yeah. But again, you're talking in the WWE... In the women's roster, that's pretty fucking old. For the most part.
I think it was worse that she was in there with Rhea Ripley.
Well, that match.
I think if she
aside
were
from
Sasha, should
talking about her looks and fucking getting canceled because we have no business doing.
That match was always
was so out of sync.
Yeah,
they were so out of sync in almost the entire match. One or two things went off well and they look good, but
that moonsault, her moonsault off the top was fucking phenomenal.
But most of it was like some fucked up timing and just lack of communication, or they just weren't on the same page all night or something. Yeah. They didn't have chemistry, whatever it was. Because they've had a match. They had a WrestleMania match in the past.
I don't know.
No, I'm saying I think it was the NXT title or something.
Okay.
Like a little bit ago or something. I don't know. I don't even remember who Ripley beat for the belt. Maybe it was Charlotte. I don't remember. This is how much I don't like. Things don't stick with me from the WWE anymore. They're not creating memories.
I didn't even remember Rhea Ripley was a person until last night.
Sasha would have a much better match with Charlotte because they've worked together a gazillion times. They trained together. They came up through the NXT together. This is Rhea's
because of the size disparity between the two. It should have been more. She'd almost worked it
disparity.
Man, Rhea Ripley's a much bigger girl than fucking.
They're the same, but size-wise, they're pretty much eye to eye.
Not now. Before.
Eye to eye, they're still the.
Height-wise. Yeah, height-wise, yeah.
I mean, Ripley has a lot more muscle on her, and Charlotte has definitely trimmed down more since the first time she.
It should have been less. It should have been less of the 50-50 match it was. I didn't like the finish. I didn't care for the finish at all. I didn't care for the finish. I mean the actual finish.
Well, I don't like a lot of their finishes usually.
But like the way she used her finish and the good tap, like that moment, that spot, that was fine. But the stuff that preceded it and what came before was all bad. Yeah, can all go. You made Rhea Ripley look like shit, WWE. Not that anyone will remember or care in 24 hours.
And it's like this like Ripley'd only had the title like a couple of months. And you're like just rushing to put it back on Charlotte, and now Charlotte's like been on the main roster like what 4 or 5 years, and she's like the 14-time champion or something already, or 13. Or something. It's ridiculous.
Talk about championships that don't mean anything.
Can we have longer reigns? You would think that when someone becomes world champion, that it should be really hard to get that belt off of them. I understand every now and then a transitional champ, but when you have a title reign, no matter who it is, if you're not committed to like at least 6 months on them, then don't put it on them.
The old school slow burn mentality is still the best booking. You just contemporize and you update how you get there. But the base idea of having a guy who's worked his entire life to be this good and now dethroning him is going to take someone special.
Part of the you almost want to treat your heavyweight title holders as like almost like they're a different sport, like they're MMA or boxing, where they only have 4 defenses a year.
Yeah, they're doing like tag stuff or whatever ancillary shit.
They can do matches, but they're not they're non-title.
Oh,
yeah,
because then you can beat them, you can do all that kind of stuff or whatever you want to do.
It's like,
you can have all the fuck finishes,
right? And it's like, but it should be like you're putting the belt on them. That maybe if they're on every show, it's mostly cutting promos and stuff. They don't have to work a match every fucking week. The privilege now is that once you have the title, there's a rarity to seeing you work. They're like, no, they're the champion. You see them work at the tentpole fucking pay-per-views. You don't get to see the champion
pay-per-views don't
wrestle.
matter.
But I'm saying, like, there's no like specialness to being champion if you see them wrestle every fucking week for free.
But see, there's nothing special about wrestling anymore.
I'm making points.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
Obviously wrestling isn't
like you're absolutely right, man. And you know, it's a lot of short-sighted nonsense, and nothing means anything. These belts are just things. They're just gimmicks. They're just MacGuffins to get from one story to the next.
And then when you have a guy, see, you make it where like it's a Hogan thing where he's on every 3rd episode, and he's not wrestling that much. And then when you do have one character that is a defending champion, and all comers, all times, and then for like 6 months you have a John Cena that defends the title all the time, but the privileges as the heavyweight title for the most part, you're not wrestling every fucking week.
Yeah. No, absolutely not.
It's like no. Now I'm paid such a and you make it like as the top guy, I demand a premium. So I don't have to work every week. My title matches, I get paid millions of dollars.
As champion, you should only work house shows, because that way they can try stuff out at house shows.
Yeah,
and it's not consequential. So and plus you make your money that way.
Right.
You should. Especially the big belt, for it to mean anything, it has to mean something. But they've taken all the meaning away from everything.
Yeah.
It's just a MacGuffin, man. I mean, I don't watch or care enough about AEW to know if their belt will ever mean anything. But like the TNA belt barely means something.
Well, but the AEW, the big belt, I feel like for the most part, it's on
the right track.
It's been on people's waists for longer stretches.
Yeah, and it's on the right
Jericho
track.
Had
with
it
what
for
they're
a
doing.
long time. Omega has now had it for a good stretch. I can't even remember who Omega beat for. Man, my brain is like Swiss cheese these days. But whoever he beat had it for a stretch.
Yeah,
it is not handed over every other week.
They're doing it the right way, but that just takes time and tenure. But like to me, the New Japan belt's the only belt that really matters. Because I feel they still protect that belt, and
that's another one where that when someone in New Japan gets the belt, it's like a fucking year and a half run.
Yeah, no, it literally the New Japan belt does what the WWF title used to do. The WWE title used to do. It makes careers.
Yeah.
Remember when Okada wasn't Okada and he became Okada? Remember when Nakamura
didn't have that belt.
He never did win that. Oh, it's the Intercontinental belt.
Yeah.
Wow, man. He made there you go. He made the Intercontinental belt just as important.
Right.
It was almost like when the fucking Intercontinental belt in the fucking early 80s or mid 80s.
Yeah, but you put it on
where it meant something.
Yeah.
When Savage and Steamboat, put on classics for the fucking thing.
Yeah.
So But none of those belts mean anything. Nothing.
Probably when Honky Tonk had the long run, I think was probably the downfall of that fucking belt.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably because he lost to the Warrior. That was the big thing.
But I'm saying he took some of the glamour away from that belt. When a Steamboat had it or a Macho had it or whatever, they were up and coming guys, but they had that thing. They had that it.
Yo,
they were destined. They're all destined to be heavyweight title holders.
When the Intercontinental belt was working the way it should work.
Honky Tonk was never going to be a heavyweight title holder, and yet he held that IC belt so fucking long. You know that I think that's what hurt that belt going forward.
Well, there was a lot of guys that would have been bigger if it wasn't for Hogan, and that's not like a dig on Hogan. It's just Hulkamania was just this cultural thing, and to step out of that shadows, man, it took a real strong
that's
personality.
anything. I mean, like look at golf. There were so many guys that could have been bigger and had more titles.
If Tiger Woods
wasn't
when he hit
fucking dominant.
Look at all the people that would have been
a lot of those guys were so thankful for Waffle House to drag that guy fucking down and give them some opportunities. Like I remember at the time, like all those guys that were constantly hovering, fighting for the number 2 spot, the VJ Singhs and the Mickelsons or whatever. If they hung around long enough in the sport for when Tiger fucking stepped on his own dick, to have the opportunity to start fighting for that 1 spot. But before that, that's really it. You know, there was like that fucking run, and that's the Hogan run. You know.
Yeah, and every sport gets it. You got Michael Jordan and the NBA, all the teams that probably should have got a title, but were never going to get a title as long as Jordan was at his peak.
Thing, yeah.
You know, when the Yankees do their thing from time to time, you know, when the Steinbrenners throw all the money in New York on one team, or with the Patriots just finished.
The Patriots are one.
Yeah,
the Patriots are one. So I think the Yankees, because they had a lot of titles, but there were a lot of years they were spending a lot of money, and they were not fucking winning.
Those are the best years.
Yeah. Like you know, the year we won.
It's still my favorite baseball memory of all time. Watching us, a team that didn't even...
The Marlins.
The Florida Marlins, whose $23,000 payroll didn't even match the royalty... the royalty tax. That the luxury tax that Steinbrenner was paying on the Yankees at the time, and we beat them in Game 5 at Yankee Stadium, and it was the best moment ever because the Yankee crowd watching that entire stadium just go quiet. Oh my God, it was the greatest thing ever. Listen, every sport has that fan. Something about the Northeast, though, makes fans just a little bit more irritating. So, Yankees fans can be some of those irritating fucks that walk God's green earth, other than fucking Red Sox fans.
I don't know. Boston sports in general are just the shits, and there are a lot of bandwagoners with that. Yankees have just been I don't know. You get those they're like the Patriots. You're spoiled. They buy all the good players, etc. So not so much the same instance with the Patriots, but they're just spoiled with the riches of the quality of the teams and stuff, and they just always expect to win, and they get bitchy when they don't, and whatever. Patriots are a little bit like that in a different way. Obviously, in football, it's more of an even field in terms of salary cap. There's a luxury tax. You can't spend your way, but they're so spoiled. And as soon as they started to stink, you saw the rats getting off of that ship. Everyone running to be, all of a sudden they're Tom Brady fans, not Patriots fans. All of a sudden there's a lot of fucking Tampa Bay jerseys up in fucking the Northeast corridor there.
Weird how that shit happens.
Yeah, it's real fucking suspect. I'd love to call out half a dozen names, but but yeah,
that's the one thing about sports is watching people jump ship to ship, as the tide turns.
I mean, man, I can respect.
At least as Dolphin fans, man, it's been hard.
But I can respect
it's been hard.
As much as I hate the Jets and I hate Jets fans, I respect the fact that if you've been a Jets fan all this time,
yeah,
you've
In a way, we're kindred spirits.
the loyalty.
We've been through the
never
shit.
Been that bad. We've never.
Bro, we have been that bad.
Not consistently for the stretches. I mean, the Jets are the fucking Jets, man.
That's okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jets fans. I tried.
Nah, fuck them.
You guys are, by the way, the worst fandom to be in a stadium with, and it's not even close.
I'm trying to think, but I don't know.
I went with Jeff to I think it was one of the last football games. No, it's not one of the last ones. But I went into the season when we had the Jets and they blew us out by it was 40-7 or some shit. My God, Jeff got to see firsthand how bad Jet fans can get. An absolute, unquestionable victory.
Yeah.
Still getting in fights and the whole 9 years. There were 3 fights within like 2 sections of me. And I'm just sitting there and Jeff's like, is this normal? I'm like, only Jets games. And, well, maybe some Steelers games.
Here? I don't know.
No, maybe not here. There's a lot of Steeler fans here.
There are, but they're a class.
No, I don't even want to say that.
Everyone's a class.
I don't even want to say that because I don't even think I have a distinct memory of a Steeler fan base being uppity.
No, they're not.
No. So Jets fans unquestionably. Patriots fans are just annoying, obnoxious.
They're so spoiled. They're literally all of them are bandwagon fans.
Watching them watching them being force fed right now.
Total bandwagon fans.
Yeah. Well, Tom Brady left. What do you expect? Shut your fucking mouth. It was all about Bill Belichick, wasn't it? Didn't matter who was behind the gun.
I was at a game, and we were in the away section, and so there were a lot of Patriots fans around us. It was a game where we blanked them. It was 26-0 or something, and we were blowing them up with Marty Booker and not even our top guys. It's just some of our backups.
Which is the weird thing about our rivalry with them is every now and then. Inexplicably, we would just destroy them.
Well, a long time we had their number more than any other team, but
then Tom Brady.
But that was
along.
when we had Jason Taylor and those guys, and Zach and that. But I remember we fucking shut them out, and there were just these fucking chicks that were with their boyfriends who were just whining and complaining and didn't understand how, and I was like, man, this is they just expect to win everything. And
very privileged.
Losing doesn't even compute to them.
Very privileged.
Or having an off day just doesn't fucking their head. It can't even penetrate. I was like, this is a mess. I can't. And it's I've been looking forward to this for a decade, for the day Tom Brady wasn't playing anymore, because I assumed he'd retire Patriot. Little did I know,
He's gonna outlive us all.
well, he'll outplay us all, but that he was going to leave the Patriots one day. It's so funny, that even winning eventually wasn't enough to keep that together. Belichick is just
to
just brutal. I loved Earl. I was talking to Earl. I'm like, would you take a call from New England if they won? He's like, I mean, this wasn't this year. This was when he was still kind of wanted to play and was floating around.
Fuck that weather.
And he's like, I have no interest in the Patriot way. I'm paraphrasing the quote, but it was basically.
I can't wait till we hang around him more and more stories just slip out.
Yeah.
As they come, it naturally comes around.
Yeah.
And we get some really good.
Well, these fucking interior designers have been decorating his place for 2 fucking years.
I was gonna say, it's wait.
By the time it's all done, it's gonna be out of style. So I think he's been floating in and out.
Maybe that's the rib.
Because people are still working in his place.
Maybe that's the rib. The rib is they just keep designing and it never stops.
Right. Oh, shit. The first thing they did, now they're circled back to it. Redoing it because that shade of green is out of fucking style.
I kind of want to go Earl, we'll go to IKEA. Brother, you won't even feel it. Yeah. We will get every room in your house, whatever you need, man.
Yeah. These people are... I feel
and it's going to be in pennies on the dollar of what you're paying now.
They may have found themselves a mark.
I can't wait till we're close enough to have these conversations, these interventions. Earl, we understand.
I'll fucking say that.
Holy shit. I don't know, man. Yeah, so Money in the Bank, whatever. I mean, it had its moments. But now that I've seen a full WWE show and a full AEW show within like a month or so, I kind of know where both products are sort of in the span. It's as much as AEW bothers me, it's not even a close call. They're at least doing something original.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, but they give you, hey, Big E's got we're putting our shit on Big E, but we know how this game works. Oh, this was the fucking Money in the Bank guy with everything on his ass with a fucking rocket shooting north last year, and now who?
Yeah. Everything that was working, they're like, fuck it. It's like the beard, the fucking the Tommy Boy character that he was doing.
They did to him what they did to your girls, the Iconics.
They took Mandy Rose away from him. Yeah. Everything that the fans loved, they're like, oh, that worked? Strip it from him. Oh, that worked? Strip it from him. And just now the character may be fine now, but they like you said, it was like lightning in a bottle with him.
Because that was something that probably wasn't supposed to work.
It was the reason they gave him the Money in the Bank thing in the first place. And then when everyone's happy and wants it, then it's like, God damn it, they like it. Take it away, Even the Money in the Bank thing. He didn't even use it. He lost it to someone. He lost it to Miz in a match.
Awful.
And Miz cashed it in.
Awful.
Yeah, it's shameful.
Awful. See, that's the great thing about the WWE. You know they're going to fuck up. It's just a matter of when. So, yeah, you learned a lot last night. You learned that some of it was good, some of it was bad, and they still insist that Roman Reigns is the man.
And as well, on that fucking roster,
it's a hard argument to make for sure.
There's a few guys.
Actually, no, wait.
Unless you want to roll the dice on someone like a Cesaro or whatever, that they're a Nakamura or like those guys are arguing.
It's criminal that Nakamura. Well, yeah, it is actually criminal that Nakamura isn't champion, but it's criminal that Cesaro isn't in a prominent place right now. I thought he was getting there after Mania, and I suppose that
it's like in the mix, right under the mix.
Yeah,
like when they interject him every now and then into the big thing.
I feel like he's reached that point with some guys before him have reached where they're in that spot where it's like this is the next logical place for you to go, but there's this piece. Whether it be something with you, with us,
with us. And by us, I mean the company.
Happened to Billy Guy. You see it happen. It happens to these guys. They bring him in hot, and then they get him to where they need to go. Then they go, "Fuck, we don't know what to do now." No. And it just seems like that
room full of writers, and they can't figure it out.
Might be what ends up happening with Cesaro, and that would suck, man, because he's so good.
And as much as I personally love Goldberg. And would love to see him keep popping up every now and then.
He's like fucking 78 years old.
You can't keep interjecting him into the fucking off the fucking street every single time into the title picture.
Instead of it being,
it worked that one time with Brock.
Yes,
and then after that, it's like. I mean, I get it if you're using him to legitimize other people, but at a certain point, it becomes this repetitive joke because again, like the referee thing. Don't treat your audience like they're complete fucking morons. Like, these people obviously are high-functioning adults that can pay bills and earn enough money to go to your fucking live shows. Like, treat them like like they have a brain in their head.
That being said, a grown man wearing Roman Reigns gauntlets on his hands, no good, man. No good. It's bad luck.
Well, whatever.
Bad luck. But you did pay your money that you probably earned.
I love Goldberg. If he was going to do more stuff like he did with Ziggler for that short period.
I don't know what you're talking about. So
it was a short thing.
Yeah.
But it was great. But instead, you just keep like, back after 8 months, right to a title shot and out again. And it's like,
to be
the
fair,
fans are just rejecting it.
To be fair,
I feel bad
not a whole lot else you can do.
I feel bad for Bill. To come in, and he's going to get booed out of the fucking building this time around because people are finally sick of it. I love Bill. I would be happy to see Goldberg wrestle whatever he wants to.
But his time has come.
But he's not. Yeah, go work us. I mean, the problem is those guys will work rings around him. But like, if there was someone to work that would benefit that person, like Goldberg's not elevating. Lashley.
That is who Goldberg is. Goldberg is the perfect version of Roman Reigns. He's just a guy that has this thing. It's that you know he needs to be there, but you're not sure how to keep him there. But Goldberg figured it the fuck out, and he did the one thing that's going to make him a lot of money, and he just barely ever deviated from it.
Right.
You know, and he just made all the money in the world. And I feel like Roman has never found that one thing that he can do that's going to, I mean, by default, based off the fucking roster and just Vince's insistence over the last decade that Roman's the guy. He's been the guy. But, I mean, when was the last time you watched a Roman Reigns match and you went, that guy, fuck, that was a fucking great match?
I mean, there's been some. But I don't know if it was because of him or because of the other guy.
That was my next question. Yeah. Name the opponent when you said that. Yeah. And it's going to be Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker.
It's like we said. It's like we liked the match last night with Edge.
Yeah. It's Edge.
Credit that to Edge. Credit that to Edge and Heyman. I mean, I don't think...
You're talking about somebody who, if you're a breathing body who can bump, you're going to get a 3-star match out of him.
Yeah.
That's how good a guy like Edge is. Just stand there, loose. I'll make it work. Mm-hmm. And when I call bumps, take them. You know, just follow me, kid. Right. That's how good he is. And he doesn't do it at the indie level. He does it at the WrestleMania level. Yeah. You know, and there's so few him, Orton, AJ. There's just not enough of them now. Because then after that, you know, I think a guy like Big E can have a really great match at a WrestleMania. But I do believe it's got to be with somebody that's been there before. Where like...
Well, it's the...
And this is an unfair...
Since he's the first timer in the title picture, like winning the belt, that it's going to be against someone that's really experienced holding the belt.
But I mean, say that in an era where the main event of WrestleMania doesn't matter anymore. So maybe it'll be just fine.
Well, nothing matters at WrestleMania because it's literally just...
I didn't even watch. This is the first year I didn't even watch it.
It's 2 nights now, and it's fucking a gazillion matches.
I did for the 20.
Everyone's got to be on it.
2020 was the first. I was like, I'm not watching WrestleMania with no fans. I'm not doing it, and I have no interest in revisiting what it was. Don't care.
Yeah.
Professional wrestling without fans was and is going to be always the dumbest idea. I understand all the reasons and things that were in place that make it necessary, but that era will be forgotten. As live fans, has been. Pretty much, yeah. I would say. So as soon as Raws and SmackDowns are 100% traveling shows again, yeah, that's going to be about it. I don't know, man. I got nothing left.
That's fine. We've gone on way too long.
Oh, you're gonna cut this up? Is that bad?
No, not cut it up. But
how long do we go?
An hour and 50 minutes.
Jesus Christ, Ben.
Don't look at. What do you mean?
That was long. I knew we were going. I knew we were talking. All right. Yeah. Well, all right, everybody who hasn't passed out at this point.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, we'll talk to you later.
Bye.